how do children maybe see the world differently than adults? Because adults, I think, they just assume that kids are little less educated versions of themselves, which is not accurate.
Not true.
Yeah, which is not really true. So how do they see the world differently that parents might be able to better relate to them?
So I work in primary education, and we'll have people that are 10 years old, and we'll also have people that are 5 years old. And the younger you get, I think a lot of parents often forget that some experiences are literally the first time this child has ever had that experience. And they're like, okay, so in this environment, you're not acting in the way people ordinarily act in this environment. It was like, well, I've never been in this environment before. This is the first time I've ever entered a swimming pool. This is the first time I've ever been to a theater where we're expected to be quiet. I don't know what the social norms are in this environment because I've never been in this environment. And recognizing what those are, and kind of, okay, sometimes you're putting yourself in an awkward situation. So the theater, for example, nobody wants to be the parent with the crying
Screaming
child.
kid,
But it's like, okay, are there ways that I can recreate this where there's less pressure? Like some theaters will have performances that are child friendly, and they'll be aware of that. Like putting them in the situations where we can kind of practice those social norms so that we can get accustomed to it.
Wow, that's actually quite insightful.
I mean, the kids of our close friends are growing into the age where they could have conversations with you, and the conversations that kids you have, like you really talk to them like another human being instead of like talking down to them or at them like little kids. You have really amazing answers. One of our friends who's a filmmaker decided to remake a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. It's a little matchstick girl, and he said, I talked to my daughter who's like 5 years old or 6 years old. I was telling her the story of this little girl being, beaten, yelled at, abused physically and mentally, and she still has to sell matches for her dad. And his daughter went, "Why?" She goes, "If someone beats me, I'm going to beat him." I was like, see, that kind of attitude, you as an adult, you would just follow along with the logic of whatever you're told or whatever you're asked to do. But the kids look at things from a very different perspective, and a lot of the amazing artworks that we enjoy today, maybe some of the technologies, if we really dig into the story behind the scenes, probably come from random conversations from their kids.
Actually, I really like the idea of talking to kids like they have important ideas. Also, but one of the things that both Tom and I did in our former job was try to get down physically on their level, so that your eye line is at the same. So if they're 5, you have to sit on the floor like as low as you can, so that they're at the same physical level as you, so that when you're talking to them, it feels more interpersonal than you're just looking down at this child. Okay, tong tong.
Oh God, I hate baby talk. Like I hate is it called baby talking?
Yeah, but how are you? How would you like if it talked to you like that?
You were asking earlier how my Chinese is. I often say that I have like 4-year-old Chinese because like I can have a conversation with a 4-year-old, no problem.